Welcome back to Les Schwab Tire Center's Outdoor GPS, presented by Fisherman's Marine and Outdoor. Now, it's real time.
And it's really time to hook up. That was so lame. With Bill Monroe Jr. From Bill Monroe Outdoors. How'd you like that one? I tried to get slick.
Well,
and it didn't really.
That was classic. That was well played, Owen.
Not really. I mean, for
No.
others maybe, but not for me. Well, number one, it's good to see you, man. You're looking good. I love the scenic shot in the background. You're up above Bonnie already. What's going on up there?
Boy, could you kind of tell where I am here? Little Hood River action. Got the bridge. Got little, spots back up the river where I'm going to be fishing way up towards Klickitat. Yeah, that's going to be great. It's kind of a zoo, though. I came up here a little early to it's my amazing wife's birthday yesterday, and then we're just going to do New Year's up here, and it's gotten really, really busy. The marina is already full of boats, which is kind of weird. I've never really seen that before. But when you look at the sturgeon fisheries in the past couple of years, this is what we've kind of been dealt with. And I don't think I blame anybody for being up here, especially with, steelhead being closed and, no estuary sturgeon. We're trying to protect lower river fisheries until we get predation and, recruitment figured out. That's kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
So things are changing.
Now, you already mentioned that the marina is already full in the Hood River area, everyone. If you haven't been up there, it's, it's a beautiful place, of course. Now, you said that you haven't quite seen that before. Are you saying that because the season hasn't even started? Or is that because of the conditions that you're going to be seeing tomorrow and going through this week? Because at least what you're most concerned with, the wind, knock on wood, isn't going to be too dramatic.
Yeah, that's the big thing. It's 37 degrees here this morning, but the water temps, they're 45 degrees.
Uh-oh.
That's prime time sturgeon water.
I mean, they're going to be snapping like crazy.
Yeah, they really are. And we set this fishery. Well, actually, I'll go back. The states set this fishery with some input from anglers like me and a couple others, and we're like, hey, we need to extend these seasons, or we need to do something to make these last a little bit longer, and we need to be thinking about, just like what all of Zone 6 really kind of needs to be seen. We've actually, in the past, we'll go with 5 years, Zone 6 fisheries have become quite a play in multiple levels. Now, we're talking about like tules ruining lower river things, but Zone 6, Hood River, above Bonneville, here we are yet again. It's an actual thing.
Oh, yeah, it's something that everybody anticipates. Obviously, that you've kind of mentioned it. Bill had mentioned it. It's a bit of a struggle for steelhead fishing in certain areas, especially up in Washington. Closures by idiot organizations and other things that have been caused, and people are just being necked down to opportunity. Now, of course. Bill, I got to talk to you, though, about how you're going to be successful. You already kind of mentioned one of the positive things here is that the water temperatures are going to be conducive to the fish biting, right? They're going to be active.
Yeah.
It's not too cold. These fish will be wanting to feed. How are you going to go after them? Are you going to be looking for deep water, shallow water? Do you like to change things up as far as locations that you fish? And I got to ask, of course, a little bit later on, I want to ask you about your favorite bait up there, because everyone has their favorite bait for up in that area, because things are significantly different up there as opposed to, say, an estuary fishery.
Completely different, yeah. Yeah, when I just to go into right now for this segment, but I really like the deep water. In the pools, we have multiple locations that are 100 feet, 80 feet. That's kind of a big deal for these sturgeon to hang out. They winter. They like to sit in together in groups, and that's how they kind of get through winter periods in cold water periods. They like to kind of just hang out in these deeper spots and not really move. They don't move much. They don't migrate much until the summer, until they get like 50 water, 60, 70. then they start to do things. You know, they go up and down, they cross the dams through the locks, they cross, you know, fish passages, all sorts of stuff. It's really interesting, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, they certainly will. Obviously, when the colder water, you can target them a little bit more. So it all falls down to the willingness to move around if you don't find anything, right?
Yeah. Yep. Totally true. Totally true. And that's kind of another thing, you know, in the estuary, we get a real small slot limit, that 44 to 50. You get a 6-inch window. Up here, it goes back to the old-fashioned 38 to 54-inch slot limit, which, by the way, there's been multiple years where we've contemplated, and me too, I've kept some 39-inch, but they were fat, or you could keep a couple of 42s that are real skinny. That's real typical up here for the pool fisheries. So I don't know, maybe we should probably look at like a little bit bigger slot limit. That's probably something that will get explored in the future years. But with the way that this season is shaping up, they slated us a Monday, Wednesday, Saturday openings, but only until February 7th for the Bonneville pool. I don't see that lasting even remotely close to that. We may get, if the pressure, you know, backs off mid-January, we may get through, I don't know, January 20th or 29th maybe. But yes, yeah, it's a thing.
Yeah. I mean, the Monday, Wednesday, Saturday obviously is something that was more of a Band-Aid to try to extend the season so that you might have a little bit more time for everyone to go up there and chase these sturgeon around. But now, before we go to a break, and I want to talk a little bit more about, you know, the brass tacks of it all on being successful, and maybe, you know, the willingness to move around, which I always found to be an advantage up there, because a lot of times people drop a hook and they ain't moving, which is not what you want to do if you can't find them.
Yeah, you don't want to do that.
No, but so you mentioned the slot limit. Now, my view on these sturgeon fisheries, everyone's well aware of. I don't participate in them anymore. I chased sturgeon daily for a long time, decades. Really,
I remember our old days of hanging out. You and I, all the boys, we'd be out there fishing, having a great time. But it's not like that anymore, is it?
No, and I'm to the point. I'm old enough where I'm like, you know what? I don't want to hurt them anymore. Not until we can recover those lower river stocks. So not to say that we shouldn't be fishing them, but you kind of alluded to that slot limit. Probably should be adjusted above Bonneville, because at least the biologist, and in my experience, the fishery up there is a little fragile, okay? Now, I'm not going to say that it's something that could fall apart in a minute, but if it's not managed the right way, you know, we don't want to run out of stocks of fish, right? So do you think that slot limit, if it was shrunk a little bit, maybe something a little bit more familiar or similar to what's down in the estuary would make more sense?
Yeah, I actually do, because the job we're doing down on the lower river has to have the equation of predation mixed into it. That's a real issue. Sea lions mainly, right? Yeah. Humans, yes, but sea lions, huge problem, and we're actually trying to prevent a lot of what we call recruitment. Now, when I say recruitment, we talk about when we go out and we get the results of sturgeon surveys, which are set line by the departments on both sides of the river. Yeah. They look at, you know, age slot limits from like real small, like 20 inches and up. The recruitment into keeper size is right before the keeper slot limit is right before they reach spawning size. Right. So we call that recruitment, right? Well, the lower river recruitment is going, it's had its ups and downs. Right now it's on a down, which we are trying to protect, and that's why we're not doing sturgeon down in the estuary. And that's why this fishery has actually, above Bonneville, has shown good recruitment overall. But this population is they're kind of residential in a sense of the terms. And, you know, this fishery used to get not even touched. No. 10 years ago, there was, when we were kids, Owen, you and I, we'd come out here and there was maybe 2 boats. Yeah, it was great. Maybe 4 boats. Yeah. And then once we started seeing low river issues, we see this fishery just explode. And this is where I tell you, I don't blame everybody for it. This is what we do. This is how we're supposed to, you know, work and save things and do things. And It's really hard on the states to manage these things.
Well, that's one of the reasons.
Really hard.
That's why we're known as salmon, steelhead, and sturgeon anglers. That's the way it was, everyone, growing up my whole life. Now things have changed a bit. Don't go anywhere, Bill. We're going to cut to a quick break. I want to talk to him about where, and maybe some locations that he might be willing to talk about. Maybe some depths and some tips that might help you be successful. Maybe you're up there watching right now, like Bill, up there in Hood River, and you want to get a little insider tip or two. We'll have that when we come back. Don't go anywhere.
Outdoor GPS is brought to you by Chevy Silverado and the impressive new Turbo Max engine. Flex your muscle with the strongest, most advanced Silverado ever. Official truck of Outdoor GPS.